impossible I have found, for when my chin is on the ground I pick myself up, dust myself off, and start all over again. Don't lose your confidence.
And welcome back, folks, to the How to Use Your Life show. Oh, boy, is that tune ever appropriate by Argent. Hold your head up, because in a few moments when I introduce you to Kyle Maynard, you will understand that not only has he held his head up all of his years, he's keeping all of our heads up with all the incredible things that he's doing. So welcome to WNJC 1360 AM and www.WNJC1360.com. We are, or just WNJC1360 or just .com. You know what to do. Just go to my website, Joe Fermano. Sign up for the Daily Dose. You get your weekly video blog. You get your daily quotes and everything that comes together. And each week we are here to present the How to Use Your Life show. Again, for all my listeners, as you know, and you spread the positive word, we interview folks that are doing amazing, true things like Kyle and everybody in between. And I'm your information gatherer, someone who's just throwing this stuff up against a proverbial wall and hoping that something sticks for you to realize, as you're going to find out momentarily, hey, let's count our blessings and not our problems. So, on YouTube, on my website, my weekly video blog this week, and I'm not going to give it all away, but it was in a nice setting, and I talked about the fact that I, as a kid, and my father used to say to me, when I would complain as a kid for not having this or wish I could get that, would always talk to me about an attitude of gratitude, that someone always has it worse off than you, and be grateful for what you do have. And then it leads into many other things, which introduces actually our guest for this evening. Tonight's guest, there is so much that this man has done in his lifetime. And I got to tell you, he's a young kid too. I actually think he's young enough that he could maybe be my son. We'll find out his age when he comes on. But to introduce Kyle Maynard this evening, and remember, this broadcast will be replayed. It'll be on YouTube for you, and it'll be on my website. The best way for me to introduce Kyle Maynard would be to read a quote from HBO Real Sports newscaster Bernie Goldberg. He said it this. He summed it up this way. This is what Bernie Goldberg said about Kyle. Kyle's taken away the right to complain from the rest of us. Kyle's taken away the right to complain from the rest of us. So with that, let me introduce and welcome to the How to Use Your Life show, Kyle Maynard. Kyle, thank you for joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Joe. Doing really good. Thank you for having me on tonight.
It's fantastic. It's just great to have you here. And like I said, we're not going to have enough time to cover all the areas because, man, you're just so busy setting all these records and doing all these things. I was just looking tonight. I'm thinking you're on the Oprah show. You're on Larry King, ESPN, HBO Real Sports 2020, Good Morning America. Well, hey, man, thanks for finally coming to Philly and joining us at the How to Use Your Life show. We appreciate it.
Hey, that's right. Absolutely. Checking off another one. This is one of the more important ones on the list.
Good answer, Bob. We love you. We love you. I'll send you a cheesesteak. Way to go. We love you already. Listen,
so that's what I'm gunning for.
You got it. Let's get right to the heart of it. And you know, Kyle being such a gentleman and down to earth said, Joe, any questions? Nothing's offline. Ask whatever you want. We all know that you were born with a condition called congenital amputation, where basically from the elbow down and from the knees down, no arms, no legs. And before we get into all the amazing things that you've done and that you are doing, I've got to ask you, as a parent, what were your parents like for you? What role did they play in where you are today and what you're doing?
I mean, it was really, everything. Growing up, they treated me just as a normal kid. We didn't really focus on the disability in my house. I've got 3 younger sisters too, and it was kind of the same experience for all of us growing up. And that doesn't mean that there wasn't a lot of tough time and that there wasn't some struggle with stuff, but really they just continued to go and try to fill my head with positive stuff, go and try to put my focus on things that I could do, that I was capable of, and just continue to go and set the bar really high. I mean, even in learning how to do things like picking up silverware for the first time. There was a whole lot of struggle at first. But my grandmother and my grandfather, they're incredible people too. I'm actually over at their house right now doing this interview, but
hi Grandma, hi Grandpa.
It's Grandpa's 79th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Forward. But they, just amazing people where it was just, constantly learning how to do stuff, using my arms, without focus on, on the disability. Because I think that a lot of times we will live up to that label that we're put on. If someone is said to be, not to say there's not real conditions, but if we're said even something like ADD, very common diagnosis now, kids will consequently sort of believe that that's got to be the case. With congenital amputation or any other type of physical disability, it can very much be the same thing, where we kind of almost, in a way, limit ourselves.
That was a mouthful right there, Kyle. I mean, you just nailed it right across the board. What happens is we become enablers, and what I heard you say that you did was, instead of focusing on the disability, let me focus on what I can do and learn what I can do and celebrate and work with that. And I'm sure now that you are really a national, international speaker, you must bring that with you when you speak to these folks. And I want to I want to get into all the physical stuff you've done, but you've got this, I guess it's a brand, I'm not sure, or a book called No Excuses. I mean, now I got to ask you, because I know you got a great personality. So is that something that you're saying to us out there? Hey, I'm right in your face. Look at me. Look what I've done. You got no excuses.
No, honestly, the reason why I say that is because that's the message that I most need to hear myself. I have a personal belief that a lot of speakers in the world speak about the message that they most need to hear. And frankly, I'm no different than anybody else. There have been many times where I've given excuses, and, maybe I'll just go and even push off a workout to the next day, or, I mean, not just in health things, but in other things in life too. And it's really, I think, something that we all kind of become a victim to at some point or another. But it really is just trying to remind myself and to help other people too, to kind of stop that pattern of continually trying to go and place blame on outside circumstance, and realize that, that there are these things that I can control in my life if I really try to focus on just those, and not these things that are outside of my control. It's easy for a small business owner to say, I can't make it work this month because the economy's down, and frankly, that there are some very real challenges with that, just as there was with the way that I was born without my arms and legs. My parents could have easily said, Kyle's going to have a limited life because of this. But, it's insane that even regardless of the circumstance, that I'm still going to go out and I'm still going to live the life that I want.
Yeah. Again, you said that so eloquently, and I've got to tell you, what you referred to earlier when you talked about the fact that the no excuses is because something you need to remind yourself of. Just like I produce all these quotes each day, I've got to tell you, Kyle, you're in great company, because I met with last week a famous author, Mitch Albom. He wrote a couple books, a book called Tuesdays for Maury, 5 People You Meet When You Go to Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He's
very familiar with Mitch.
Exactly.
Got interviewed by him actually a couple of years ago. Very cool guy.
Isn't he great? I mean, what a great personality. And he came to Philadelphia, and I saw him speak, and he's got his latest book, and he talked about the fact, because people were asking him questions, he says, I write these books because I need this stuff. It inspires and reminds me of where I am and where I need to be. Okay. You've done so many incredible things, besides being the motivational speaker and author. And folks, you're tuned to the How to Use Your Life show. We're live out of Philadelphia, WNJC 1360 AM or WNJC.com. Go to Kyle's website, which is Kyle, Kyle Maynard, or you can just Google him and you'll see all his fabulous pictures and everything that he's done. The spelling of his last name is M-A-Y, like the month of May, Maynard, M-A-Y-N-A-R-D. Kyle, 2004 ESPY Best Disabled Athlete, National Wrestling Hall of Fame, GNC's World's Strongest Teen. You got to tell me about that. I got my 13-year-old here in the studio tonight, Joseph, and something about I saw you like lifting 400 and some pounds. All these things, and especially your trek Is it Africa where it's Kilimanjaro? You did the whole thing with the mountain. What of all those things, what jumps out at you? What was the most challenging and the most rewarding?
You know, it's interesting. I think that now, I mean, the physical stuff is always going to be an important thing in my life. I've gotten to go and learn a lot from it, but I think I've almost learned a whole lot more from the failures than I have from those successes.
Excellent.
It's you know, when you would go through and you struggle with things, and it really teaches you a whole lot more. And nobody likes to fail, but when we do fail and we're like outside of our comfort zone, then I think that leads and tends to allow us to grow. And it's in those times that you kind of got to dig within and dig deeper within yourself. I mean, because seeking outside fulfillment for things is honestly not a good way to go. Even to go and say, you know, when I was younger, I was really pushing hard to try to compete in powerlifting and gunning after several world records, and was fortunate enough to, you know, to succeed. But it was at the same time, you know, there's always going to be that next thing, and you know, it's in really having that passion within yourself. But, you know, a lot of the things that I started from the bottom. With weightlifting, I started with a 5-pound bench press. I mean, I was embarrassed at how light the weight was. And
wow.
In the gym, you know, and then gradually kept moving up. In wrestling, I lost every match that I competed in for the first year and a half. With Kilimanjaro, even on the, you know, a third of the way up the mountain, I was broken and I was beaten. You know, body was really hurting there. But
I mean, that's
so in all those things there was hardships, but at the same time, it's you know, it's in kind of having perspective to continue to go and push through those things regardless.
The Kilimanjaro in Africa, the climb, it's almost 20,000 feet, so you're talking like 4 or 5 miles, and that took you many hours to do that. But you did it. Yeah,
that's 4 or 5 vertical miles. I mean, it's a 38-mile trail to the top. So most groups are looking at about 7 days or so on the mountain. And for us, we had projected it to take 17. And it was, you know, wanted to become the first man to crawl on all fours to the summit. So it was
that is amazing. And then what do you do after that? You know, for someone who is not quote unquote in your position. Now, I know you're doing a lot with public speaking, which is what I think is, if I may be so bold, is your gift to tell your story. You are your story. How is public speaking, because I do it, how has it changed your life or enhanced your life? Because I believe, and I haven't had the opportunity to see you speak yet, but I've heard a lot about it, and that's how this interview came about this evening. But how has that empowered and helped you? Because it's a very powerful thing when you are in front of other people and you're connecting like that. How has that helped you?
There's a certain measure of accountability. You know, if I'm going to go and tell other people to go and to live their life to the fullest, and really the deepest message that I try to convey is to find your why. You know, why are you here?
That's it.
Planet? So that's a question that if I'm asking the audience, I'm constantly asking myself too. And it's, you know, I think that the speaking is one of many different mediums to try to go and reach people. You reach people through the radio. There are other people, you know, in podcasts. There are other people that reach people through one-on-one interactions. It might even be in the checkout lane at the grocery store. You know, there's just so many different ways to go and interact with other people. And I think that one of the issues that I have speaking is that sometimes people will go and look at me as a speaker or someone like a Mitch Albom as a writer, and they'll go and see separation. They'll say that I'm separate from that person because I can't have the same impact as that individual. And frankly, if someone's going to say that, believe that to be true, then they'll make it true. But it's not true. The truth is that every one of us has a gift and an ability to go and interact with each other, and really, in those darkest moments that we go through in our lives, I think that those are going to be the things that pull us through, is to realize that I'm capable of making a difference on this planet.
You're absolutely right. There's an author. He's actually an educator. Moved here from England many years ago. His wife and family, and he's big on education and how we should change the way we teach our children in schools today and celebrate their element. And he wrote a book called The Element, exactly what you're talking about. And that's each and every one of us has a special gift, and that we have to take the time to nurture that, develop that, and make it present. And when you do, like you're saying, Kyle, the better you are, the better all the people are around you. Now, may I ask, how old are you?
26.
Oh my God, he's only 26. Karen, he could be. Oh, I'm talking to Karen, our engineer. You've done so much in your life for many folks to be proud of. I noticed when you speak. Well, not only are you doing the speaking thing, if you will, and I want to touch on some of the topics, but you're working with veterans, if I'm correct, wounded vets. Are you helping them? What is it that you're doing with them?
Honestly, it's less of a speaking thing and more just kind of a hanging out thing. I try to spend time and just make friends with some of the guys that have come home that have lost limbs. I was born without my arms and legs, so I don't know what it's like to have lost a limb, but I do know what it's like to have lived without. And I do know that these guys too, men and women, that down the road they're going to be capable of regaining a whole lot of functionality. But at the time, it's really not the physical stuff. It's the heart. It's the inner, the emotional, the psychological, the spiritual things that we go and battle through. That's really where they're tested. So my goal is just in some small way to help, provide some hope. Well,
it's the little things like that you're doing, Kyle, that make an absolute big difference, because, like you said, these folks that come back who are, protecting us, and they lose a limb, and then they meet someone like you who has a normal lifestyle and has made all these achievements. They've got to say, wow, if he can do that, I can certainly do it. I want to share something with you. I was reading the other day. I'm constantly reading all these different books, and there's a little book out there called Laughter is an instant vacation. And folks, we have, by the way, Kyle Maynard on the line, Kyle-Maynard, MAYNARD.com. Go check him out. Check out his website, his blog, his speaking, all the things that he's doing. Go to his store, and hopefully you can get him in a town near you to come out and speak. Anyway, this book, Laughter is an Instant Vacation, they had these three key points that they talked about, and what they said was there's three main reasons that people can't cope in life, and here they are. They live in the past, they have low self-esteem, and they can't laugh at themselves. And I'd like you to just comment on that, because I bet, number one, you're like, well, if I live in the way I was born, what good's that going to do? You obviously have, there's moments when I'm sure you have low self-esteem, but the reason why you have high self-esteem is because you take action, and once you fail, but then you overcome, you're strong. And then number three, you got to laugh at yourself. Does those three things sound familiar?
There's plenty to laugh at. That's for sure. No, it's, I can relate to having been at those low of lows in my life, and that those three things were absent. No, it's absolutely true. I think that the laughter, it just shows us that things aren't as serious and grave as we make them out to be sometimes. And you got to be able to have a little bit of fun with things. It's to me, it's I'm a prankster, like, naturally. So I've got to do some pranks that were small, some that were not so small. Probably a little bit more malicious than they should have been. But you
gotta laugh.
One of the best was down in Panama City, Florida. I was down there for a summer camp with some friends, and had a friend that was dressed as a lifeguard. And so I'm in the water. My buddy is dressed as this lifeguard, goes and pulls me out of the water, and another friend runs up with a bucket of tomato puree sauce and dumped it on me.
Oh, you're bad.
Started shaking and spazzing out of the beach, and they started screaming "shark attack!"
Oh,
and it was probably 50, 60 people that came up, ran around there. I was shaking, spazzing on the beach, but one girl was like, "I called 911." the ambulance was on the way, so I popped up and I was like, all right, guys, I'll catch you later.
Oh, man. That's
but
prank.
you gotta be able to laugh.
Yeah, you got to be able to laugh. Obviously, with that sense of humor, you sure can. That's one for you too. So tell me what's on the agenda for Kyle Maynard right now. In other words, like a short-term goal or a long-term goal. You strike me as someone who doesn't hang out, and you've always got something working. Do you have anything right now on the forefront? In the forefront?
And it's a combination of things, because I think that sometimes we can spend too much time in the future, and we're waiting to be on the next mountain before we're off of the one that we're on. And to me, it's and just enjoying the present. Even today, it's my grandpa and my sister were celebrating their birthday together tonight, and I took my two younger sisters, and we went and played with at this animal preserve. Some friends that got a 25-acre preserve, and they've actually been a very successful breeder of Siberian white tigers.
Wow!
And so we got to go and play with these like baby tiger cubs today, and cuddle on with them, and it was fantastic, and like just those kind of moments are the ones that are important to me. I'm always going to have those longer term goals, and there are absolutely things that I want to go in to do, but I think it's in avoiding getting too wrapped up in that stuff too, and just being really thankful for the time that I've got with my family and my sisters now. Because you never know. We never know when those things get taken away from us, so it's really important to live in the now, I guess.
Kyle, you're absolutely right. You just said a mouthful. That's that book by Eckhart Tolle about the power of now. Can't do anything about yesterday. You can't worry about tomorrow. If you work on the moment, it takes care of tomorrow. And you can tell your grandparents, again, it's your grandfather's birthday today, you said, his 79th?
It is. It is.
Well, you tell your young grandparents that I have a consulting business for 31 years, and I have two of my best clients. One is 106 and one is 100 years old, and I see them every week. And when Mary comes in or Lillian comes in, I always ask them the same question, Kyle, and you can share this with your grandparents, and that is this: what was the best time of your life? And they always say now. And I go, why now? Say, because that's all that there is, Joe. I learned not to worry about the past and not to worry about the future. This is the best time of my life because I'm here now. And always, Kyle, they say the same thing that I hear from you, even if you didn't use a specific word, and that's gratitude. Be grateful and focus on what I do have and I don't. And you're all about that, man. You're living it. You are living it.
Well, trying to. You're throwing out a lot of books there, too. I'm going to have to learn how to read so I can actually catch up on some of that.
Yeah, you do. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. It's a real profound book. Well, you know what, Kyle, we're almost through wrapping up the show for tonight. I apologize that it goes so fast, but I want our folks to know that at your speaking engagements under the no excuses, the topics, I noticed some of your topics: achievement, courage, inspiring lives, motivation, overcoming obstacles and challenges, peak performance, and personal growth. Folks, I've got to tell you, and I agree with Kyle was saying earlier, but there are a lot of folks out there that speak for a living but have never lived it. Not that they're not smart and they don't articulate, but obviously Kyle Maynard is someone who's actually living it, or like we say, eating his own cooking, if you will. Kyle, I can't thank you enough for being here on the show. I hope that before you do some other amazing feat that just blows everybody away, just know from all of us here that what you do matters. What you do makes a difference. And if I could, Kyle, I just want to end out the show on a quote that is from you. And it's on your website under About Kyle Maynard. And no, it's great. And this is what it...
I'm nervous.
No, this is... No, it's clean. It's clean.
It's clean? Okay.
It's a good one.
All
yeah,
right.
no, it's a good quote. No, we're good. And this is what it says, folks, from Kyle Maynard, the fabulous young gentleman that joined us this evening. Kyle says this: leading a normal life doesn't mean living a stagnant life. You're going to look ahead and you're going to set your impossible goals that other people would say you can't achieve. And you can go out and you can do it. just like Kyle did. And Kyle, I also want to thank my good friend John Razor and his wife Dawn, who originally saw you in New Jersey live in person. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be interviewing you tonight because he was so moved by your presentation. He hounded me for 3 days straight. You got to get him on the show. You got to get him on the show. And we're so glad that we did. So, Kyle, with that, again, hey.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for what you're doing, too. This is an important message to send, and it's the responsibility of everybody that's listening to pay it forward.
Absolutely. And thank you again for joining us at your grandparents' house and your grandfather's birthday. So go and enjoy the moments, blow out the candles, and hopefully you can join us again. Thank you, Kyle.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Have a good evening.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
That's our show, folks. Good night. Good attitudes. God bless America. We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Go to joefermano.com. Go to YouTube. You'll hear the replay. Good night.
In liberating strife, who more than self our country loved,